Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the OS Taiko World Cup 2023. I'm Mangamizer, and joined with me today, Teasel. How are you doing?
I'm doing really great, and I'm really excited to be back once again and overlooking the 2023 edition of the Taiko World Cup. Really
I
big,
can
exciting
definitely,
things this year.
I can,
So,
I can definitely hear the enthusiasm in your voice.
yep, as
But
usual.
it's good to be back. I mean, I think this is my sixth year. Actually, yeah, it's the sixth year running. Fifth year actually. I think I can't remember. Been here for far too long. But yeah, TWC 2023 is back, and so when I took over in 2018, we actually brought it down to 2v2, and this year we're actually returning back to 3v3. So it's kind of like bringing things around full circle.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's
And
that's
it's
probably the
gonna,
biggest change.
the biggest change, and will definitely kind of completely change the dynamic of TWC compared to the previous years that we've only had 2v2. And also, we have 38 teams overall for the qualifiers. So I believe this is probably one of the biggest World Cups we've had in terms
Yeah,
of just number
I
of
think
countries of being able to form a team. And yeah,
I think last year we had 37 off the top man, or was it 34? I can't remember. But yeah, bigger teams.
all
We
right,
had
so
more
beating it by one.
registrations. Yeah, we had more registrations this year. So it's always good to have, OS Taiko, we often meme about how there aren't enough players, but I do think we are growing as a game mode. So I think it was about time that we returned to 3v3. So that's good. All right, and in terms of one final note about changes before we move on to the qualifiers map will showcase, it's about free mod, I think. So basically, um, in previous iterations, we had the free mod rule, which was. Um, Actually, we can talk about this later. Let's just start the map will showcase. All right. For No Mod 1, we have Seculos Seculorum by Rabbit House, mapped by Reynald. This is our consistency pick, and it's 210 BPM. It's got your standard patterns of 1/4, 1/3, and 1/6. And I think Teasel is dead. What a great start. So yeah, we kind of looked back on the qualifiers pool last year. We had the citrus map last year, and we felt that it was a bit too spiky, so we opted for something that was a bit more flat across the board. We got our doublet section here with the quads, and then we will see a variety of snaps later on. Teasel, looks like you're back.
Yeah, this one I'm pretty happy to see because this is a song that has a ranked map in Catch that I've really enjoyed playing, but I've not really seen like any Taiko maps of it, so pretty cool that we finally have one, and it's in such a high prestige.
Yeah, it's got a star rating of 6.8, so pretty high actually. I think it's inflated though.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to kind of have anything too crazy going on. That those 1/8s there are kind of tricky, but the patterning is simple enough that it shouldn't trip up
It's
too many
one
players.
third. It's 1/3, 1/6, I think.
Oh, 1/3, 1/6, sorry.
All right, as we enter the final PI, we're gonna start seeing some mixed snaps. So we got 1/3 into 1/6, so that's pretty tricky.
It's also utilizing a lot of even note patterning, I've noticed as well, which can trip up players quite easily as well.
I think this year is the first time we officially have a playtester team, so it's actually nice to have an army of people to set the replays for us. Um, I'm kind of getting too old for this. Right,
Um,
so that's a
yeah.
excellent score from Rafalge. sort of No Mod 1, and moving on to No Mod 2.
Yep, this is Space Angel by False Noise and mapped by Aspati. So this will be the more technical map of the no mod pool, and to go straight into it with the technical stuff, all the different snappings, strange patterning, and just overall difficulty.
This is actually really satisfying to play. Trying to nail the different snaps. It, yeah, it's actually really fun to play this.
One thing to note is that it is actually OD6, so the actual kind of accuracy element of it isn't as strict with like the timing, but it kind of makes sense with there's the style of map that it is. There's not going to be too many triple SSs from all the teams, so
I'd be impressed if anyone can SS this. It's really tricky. Like
are you going to
Hurricane.
bet on it?
Ooh. Not sure on that one. But I don't think anyone's SSing this. I'm pretty sure. But I'm not going to bet on it. You know, you never know, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Darren could just pull something out of the bag. I don't know.
It's utilizing a lot of drum rolls as well, which isn't like too common, and some of them kind of aiming to obscure the notes that are coming in. So you've also got to have the fast reaction times to sort of recover from that as well.
Yeah, this on the front end, this one is kind of like trying to keep combo, but at the same time, like you have the accuracy to consider as well. But it's mostly about keeping. It's mostly about keeping combo. It also feels like a pseudo speed towards the end, so it does get quite tricky, especially near the end.
That's
but yeah,
fair.
that's
So
Space
adopting
Angel.
adopting lots of different things into the one sort of tech pick.
All right, moving on to No Mod 3, we have it's Take, right? It's not Take. I'm pretty sure it's Take.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Rish. So this is mapped by _GT, and this is our gimmick. I think with the chaotic nature of the song, this lends itself very well in trying to test a wide range of gimmicks, which is what we're trying to evaluate players on in the qualifiers. So we have a lot of gimmicks in this.
Yeah, we're already seeing multiple different types of bar line gimmicks. We have the thin and thick bar lines indicating dons and cats, and we also have these thin ones as well as sort of the incoming wider bar lines to indicate the dons and cats here. Paired with a wee bit of SV, of course.
Now might be a good time to talk about the pooling structure, like sort of how we're organizing the pooling in TWC this year. So this year there are 4 poolers this year. There's myself, there's Luminite, formerly known as Incan, and there's My returning from last year as well. And then we have Nifty, who we've brought on to sort of oversee the gimmicks in the tournament, which we felt was a bit of a weakness in last year's pools. So we've just asked someone specifically to look at the pooling for that. So kind of further subdividing the workload, so to speak. And in terms of stages as well, we've kind of broken it up between poolers. So I was mostly in charge of the qualifiers pool, with this map being the exception. So every other map was, I guess, my creative decision. But of course, the real heroes, the playtesters.
Yeah, and while you've been describing that, we've seen so many different other types of gimmicks coming in as well, like memorizations, and it's just been all over the place. But
Combo.
Just there's going to be really testing all types of stuff.
Yeah, I have no idea how Jai got
again.
100 on this. I have no idea how he did that, but Hidden 2. This is sorry, Hidden 1. What am I doing? This is Hidden 1. This is actually my favorite map in the pool, and I'll just let the map speak for itself. Um, just overlaps and low SV. Oh yeah, I forgot to introduce the song. This is Null Control by Silent Room, not by Boaz. So we actually took inspiration for this from Reincarnation from 2021. So we wanted, people seem to really like sort of slow hidden with overlaps. And so we, I guess it's more like a SV hidden type thing. So we tried to replicate this, but at a higher level.
Yeah, definitely like difficult with the reading. Like this SV goes pretty low, but the patterning seems pretty inviting actually. I don't know, it just seems like a very accessible map, even for the kind of non-hidden players. And that slowdown stream I feel like could be a killer for quite a few players. Like if you miss kind of too early on in that stream, you're gonna no-lock the rest of it.
See, we thought about this, but you can't ban a qualifier map, so we put the most evil things in the qualifier. You're not allowed to ban this map, so you have to suffer through this. I'm sorry. Not sorry. But this map I really enjoy. We want the qualifiers to be enjoyable. Otherwise, I mean, the whole point of a tournament is to be fun, right? That's the main draw.
I think the main point is to win, but, you know, fun can come second. But it looks like a pretty strong map to fill the Hidden 1 section of the pool. And we move on to Hidden 2, which is Inherit by, how do you say that? Elfsion?
Elfenshun.
Elfenshun. There we go.
I don't know. This is our speed hidden. This is clocking in at 258 BPM. This is a speed map by FLR. This is also really enjoyable. Actually, all the maps in Qualifiers are quite enjoyable, I find. We try to prioritize funness.
Yeah, you may have noticed that there's no kind of dedicated speed pick in the Nomad pool. So this what is it, 258 BPM hidden kind of somewhat fulfills that role, along with some double time picks later on.
It's really weird to see Rafal play hidden.
Yeah, but he's good at everything in the game, so... Yeah, by the looks of it, the patterning for this map is pretty simplistic, but that makes sense for the speed pick. Don't want to force players into something too difficult this early on in the tournament. Have you mentioned what kind of difficulty sort of you're attempting to represent here in the Qualifiers pool?
Traditionally, Qualifiers has always aimed to be somewhere in between Round of 16 and quarterfinals.
Okay.
But I find that because Qualifiers is sort of... There's more leeway in like the range of difficulties you can have between maps. Like sometimes I find it's like plus or minus one stage. And that's how I see it anyway. We've got some pretty long streams here. Like, I think the density of this map is pretty high, you know, for a speed hidden map. At least if you were pitching around round of 16 quarterfinals. I'd say this is leaning quarterfinals a bit more.
Yeah, and this is the second longest map in the pool, so the stamina is also a pretty big factor as well. Once you get further along, players are going to inevitably get a bit more tired, potentially dropping the accuracy, even some misses. And a very weird slowdown at the end to ruin anyone's double S.
Yeah, it's literally. Yeah. The playtesters have brought that up quite a few times.
Okay, so we've had enough of Hidden. It's time for Hard Rock, and this is Variations on E minor, Variations on Enwolf by Cinemaro.
Map by Enwolf. Yeah, this is our tech kind of tech hard rock. This has some SVs in it, although not in the sense that would make the map difficult. It's more of an accuracy-focused pick. I have no idea how Nurend assessed this. Like, what? Yeah, Cinemaro is one of the newer feature artists in this. I think they were announced within the past month or so. It's always nice to see some new FA representation. Yeah, we got some mixed 1/6 and 1/8 toward the end. Yep, that is Variations on D minor, even though the song is kind of mostly the same, which Enwolf pointed out, which I thought was pretty funny. Anyway, moving on to HR2, we've got Blow by Undead Corporation, mapped by Grimbo. This is our high SV HR. And this is, I believe, the longest map in the pool, clocking in at 3 minutes and 31 seconds.
That is correct. 230 BPM, so not for the faint-hearted, and definitely more geared towards the slightly more experienced hard rock players.
Let's do a flat 230 throughout. It does slow down at bits, like here, but throughout the key eyes and the hard sections, it is a flat 1.0x, so definitely challenging on the high SV. You know, the funny thing about HR, I find, is that the hardest bits about HR are the low density sections, because it's like, what do you want from me, right? It's like this mono section, right? It's like, if there's like a constant stream of notes, like you kind of auto process it. But if the density is way too low, it's like, what's gonna come next?
Yeah, you just kind of lose that, that state of flow.
That was a very evil pattern there with the finisher. There's like one or two of those in the map.
Well, we can't be making things too easy now, can we? Yeah, this map seems to utilize finishes quite a lot within the KIs, and also just kind of scattered throughout the map as well. So, really want to make sure you hit those finishes for the extra score as well. And here's one of those slowdowns you were talking about.
Hopefully the DDKK players can do that.
Ah, they'll be fine. Having a bit of chill section before the KI.
Grimbo was one of the first things I saw when joining the game. Like, this was back in like 2014-ish, maybe even earlier than that. It's really surprising that there are members in the community who've been around for 10 plus years.
Yeah, for sure.
Over a silly drum game.
Well, definitely not anywhere near as active as he was previously. You know, it's still nice to see players like that still kind of floating about and kind of contributing in any way that they can.
This map does not blow. It certainly does not blow, but it is blow. All right, and I think returning from last year's qualifier, DT1 as well, sort of like a redemption arc. We've got now Tamori on DT1 again. So last year he did NMW, and people found that way too difficult. So he's back with some more tricky stream type maps.
And already coming in with the doubles to make the accuracy a big factor of this map as well. Everyone knows double time accuracy is not the easiest thing out there. That the ODs are always very crazy, so yeah.
Got some even patterns there, offhand patterns. It's got it all, doublets, 1-4 plus 1-6. We've got a little bit of a break here, and then right into it. Big streams there.
Alright, and even all the short drum rolls as well, which I believe you can actually miss on Scorby too, so be careful with those. Although you can spam them as well, so spam to your heart's content.
That's Ninox by Meganeko. The O edit. You know, I actually asked about this, but I actually have no idea what the O edit actually entails. Like, the couple songs have the word in the featured artist catalog have the word O edit, and yeah. Moving on to Double Time 2, we have Hakudo by Kaki Choco, which is a map by Nardo. This is our speed map with an OD of 6, which translates to 9.5 with DT. This is the speed map. It's got basic patterns and very high OD as well. There's a couple SV changes throughout this, but it's very subtle. When we originally asked Nardo to map this, he ended up making Inner Oni, and it was way too hard. Like, it would have been like semis level, so we asked him to make a Oni .2. He just settled for making an Oni instead.
I've seen a lot of stuff recently with people being kind of dissatisfied with the idea of Oni DTs in tournaments. But
Really?
this one doesn't seem too bad, yeah.
Oh,
it's
you
got
mean
some,
like instead of Inner Oni? Like...
Yes, yeah. But this one seems like fine. Like the pattern density is kind of a bit stronger compared to kind of these kind of like Oni DTs that I've seen in other tournaments, and it's also got longer patterns as well. So I think people should be satisfied with this.
Yeah, it's mechanically probably one of the harder maps in the pool. It's pretty fast. 285 is fast. It's not a joke. It's no joke. All right, and I think that takes us into the last map of the qualifiers pool, the free mod.
Yep.
This is. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Is it? It's not Reimei. I'm pretty sure it's probably Reimei. I'm not sure. It's by Zach. Map by CDH. So with the free mods, with 3v3, we actually have a new ruling in the free mod. So last year it was something like no duplicate mods, or at least it was effectively no duplicate mods. But this year, because it would be very difficult to carry that forward, we've opted for selling for a middle ground, which is that every team needs to field a hidden and hard rock player, but those mods can be shouldered by one player. So you can have hidden plus hard rock plus no mod, or you can have hidden hard rock plus 2 no mods. So that will hopefully give a bit of flexibility for all the teams, really. Now the consequence of this, weirdly enough, is that triple hidden is not okay, nor is triple hard rock. But if a team is crazy enough to want to go for triple hidden hard rock, that is a legal combination.
I feel that's deserved. Like, if, as you say, if they're crazy enough to feel that that triple hidden hard rock is the most viable option for them, then I feel like they deserve to go ahead with it. But yeah, the changes to the rules kind of creates, once again, like a different dynamic that kind of better reflects the match kind of situation for 3v3.
Basically, every team needs at least one hidden or one hard rock player now. As opposed to previous years, you could just completely forego that. But now it's actually important to have at least one player who's comfortable on both mods.
And I assume that the free mod pools throughout this tournament will kind of reflect the idea that at least one player will need a hidden and a hard rock.
Well, we always try to make the free mods balanced around both mods. So in terms of SV, I think this peaks at around just under 220 for HR, and there are some low SV sections that you saw earlier. Very straightforward free mod 1 type map with 1/6 and streams.
Yeah, nothing designed to kind of be evil to the players. Just go ahead and do your best with as many mods as you can. But by the looks of it, that is the whole qualifiers pool.
Yeah, that is the qualifiers pool. So I think we should just quickly run through how the qualifiers work, just for the teams, just to reiterate, just to be sure. But I believe you have 2 runs of qualifiers, and the best team run of each map will be taken into account for the score. So you have teams of two runs basically. And they'll be pinged shortly about registering their availability for the qualifier lobbies. So it's all the information that you need will be in the server. So yeah. Any final thoughts or comments?
Yeah,
about-
sure. So, for the qualifiers, good luck to everyone, and ensure that all of you pick 14 UTC on Saturday or Sunday to make life absolutely hell for the people involved. So, yeah, thank you. Alright, hello and good evening everyone, and welcome to the Taiko World Cup 2023 qualifiers results. I'm Teasel, joined by Mangomizer. Hello.
Hello. It's good to be back. That was a sick intro. That was.
Thank you. It took me a long
Oh
time.
no,
to
I was
think of it.
actually talking about the stream, but I guess we can take those as well. I was actually I'm so sorry. Okay, right.
I'm just a genius, what can I say?
Okay, qualifiers results. That's what we're here for. And later on, the round of 32 map pool showcase. But yeah.
I do have
this
to
year,
say, before getting into it, it does appear that 3v3 format has really shaken things up a lot. There are, honestly, just from having a quick glance through it, some very unexpected outcomes. And I'm pretty excited to share that with everyone and see everyone's reaction.
yeah, people seemed very apprehensive about change in general. It's just general fact. People are apprehensive of change. But I think, well, we'll have to see how it plays out as the tournament progresses. The qualifiers definitely look pretty promising.
So, might as well just jump into it then. And starting with the lowest seeded team and working our way up to first. So, first of all, the lowest seeded team is Lithuania at seed 38. Just a four-man roster, their first time ever appearing in the Taiko World Cup. So it's still pretty exciting that they managed to pull together a team, but unfortunately just weren't quite able to set the scores needed to qualify, coming 38th on every single map.
It's worth noting that last year, I believe we had 37 teams in total.
I think so.
Yeah, we had 37 teams. So, hey, progress. We've got one more country now, so it's always good to have more people play in the Taiko World Cup.
But hopefully this paves the way for the future of Lithuania and TWC, and we can see them again next year, hopefully qualifying.
Oh yeah, their seeding is because did they not play or something? I forget, like, because it's 64.
Oh, yeah, it's because they didn't play last year, so there is no last year seeding to put in that position.
Moving on. In seed 37, we maintaining their position from last year, we have Austria. So Austria unfortunately did not qualify as well, and yeah, seemed to struggle a lot on many of the maps. Um, Fun fact about Austria: if you look at the TWC 2022 stat sheet, they actually qualified 50th out of 37 teams, which we have no idea how that happened, but you can look up the stat sheet. Leo, please fix.
So, a massive improvement either way. And talking about new teams, we have Latvia as well, seeding 36th, unfortunately not managing to qualify, but, you know, giving it their best shot. The most notable player from Latvia probably being Hunty, kind of a new rising player that has made themselves known and present in the tournament scene. And they've managed to round up a bunch of other players to have at least show up and perform the qualifiers and have Latvia just be here for the first time for TWC. And once again, I hope that kind of means that, you know, this encourages more players from the country to kind of get more into taiko and kind of come back next year a lot stronger.
Better luck next year. All right, moving on to seed number 35, we have Estonia, who also is a new. It's the first ever team in TWC. So yeah, so we've got 4 players, and seems like across the board didn't qualify for any of the maps. So probably slightly out of skill range, but maybe with a bit of practice they'll get better, and maybe we'll get to see them again next year.
Purely based off of Hard Rock 2, though, they did qualify. So that's
For
something
Blow,
of note.
yeah. Oh, that's true. I didn't see that. Yeah, 32. Next, we have Europe.
Oh yeah, so it's Colombia. They actually did play last year and seeded 25th, but unfortunately not quite making the mark this year at 34th. Some slight roster changes, but some decently well-known players. Just unfortunately, just not making it this year. Putting in some pretty good scores for things like Free Mod and Hidden 2 there, but just unfortunately lacking in the rest. And hopefully they will be motivated to do even better next year and return to the bracket stages of the tournament.
Well, this year they fielded a roster of 6 people, so I'm not sure what happened, and probably the change to 3v3. Like, having a team of 4 is really rough if you're playing 3v3. There's a very little option to switch around. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully they can go back with bringing in 2 additional players as well, and I think they can make a decent team and make a comeback.
And rounding off the countries that were unable to qualify, we have Peru at seed 33, also a new country, so we haven't seen them around before. We have, I mean, they did qualify for Hidden. They did all right on Hidden 1, 28th, and also the Take map, the gimmick map in Noah 3. So they were close on some, but overall, it just wasn't quite enough. I think we have a similar situation to Latvia here, where we have one player that's a bit stronger than the others. But hopefully, with time, we'll encourage other people to pick up the game mode, and yeah. See you guys next year. We hope to see you again next year.
But for the first team that did qualify, it's Denmark. Just missing out last year at seed 33, but they've improved by 1 whole seed to make it to 32nd.
2 if you're counting from the bottom.
Yeah. One thing I love about this team is that their captain is named Captain. There is not a better person for the job. But again, this is only a 4-person team. But they do have some notable names in there, especially Sukani, who is an absolutely incredible speed player. So I'm kind of interested to see where all that goes. You can especially see that in the double time one where they got 27th overall, and that's also matched in No Mod 2 as well. So definitely seems like a team that's geared more towards the sort of technical side of things overall.
This is why they didn't qualify last year, because Captain wasn't Captain, but they improved by making Captain Captain. We expect them to win all the roles. If they don't, they can beat. They can definitely. Yeah, they will win all the roles.
Watch out, Seed 1. You will not win your role.
All right, moving on to Seed 31. We have Portugal, which is once again led by Baby Snakes, and we've got a few returning players like Shinzui, Meowcat, and actually
Rosa as well played last year, I
yeah,
believe.
Yeah. I don't recognize Warp Zone. It could be a name change, and I'm Demon as well. So yeah, those possibly two new players could have possibly been name changes. I'm not entirely sure, but we're seeing fairly like no strengths or weaknesses in general, just very consistent performances across the board. You can see they basically placed 28th to 31st for pretty much every map, so no particular areas of strengths or weakness. I would say that Baby Snakes is a very cunning tactician who managed to defeat the UK in 2021. Not sure why I had to remind us of that. That wasn't a very good year
Thank you.
for us, but yeah, so they're definitely capable of certain things, but we haven't seen them perform in a 3v3 format before, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
And a team that didn't qualify last year once again is Vietnam at 36th, but this year coming back at 30th. Quite a few players that should be recognizable, especially David, who is a very big person in the beat mapping scene, and managing to put together a full team of 6 and lead Vietnam into the bracket stage. Does appear to have some strengths towards it. Hidden 1, seeded 22nd on that one. But overall, the rest of the maps do kind of hover around kind of the late sort of 20s and the early 30s in the seeding. But, you know, consistency is sometimes a good thing. So look forward to seeing what they can do in the bracket stage.
Okay, moving on to Australia. This one's an interesting one. Last year, according to my notes, they seeded 12th last year, so I don't know what's going on in stream. But okay, they definitely seeded very highly last year, but they've dropped all the way to 29th. The reason for that is a huge change in roster. Last year, they had powerhouses such as Jai, Rango, Saria, and it seems like the only person who's still around is Richie, who in his own right is a very strong tournament player. But the rest of the players are, well, they're all new to the scene, it seems. I think Beat played in 21, didn't he? I can't remember.
Yeah, Beat has
That's
played,
Tsubasa.
Tsubasa has played, and I'm pretty sure Amateur Monkey YT has also played in the past. But they're not the regulars that you normally see on the team. So now it's kind of their turn to step up and represent Australia fully, and they're just going to have to do the best that they can.
Looking at their performances, seems like we've got a couple weak points on the side of free mod, but they're pretty good on hidden and hard rock, it seems, which is maybe towards like the more extreme of mods, but in the middle, yeah.
Also, looks like they did practice taiko a lot as well. So if they're willing to like dedicate that practice to the pool, there's the potential for causing upsets. So we'll leave it up to them to show us what they can do. And here we have another team that has kind of gone from being really strong in the past to, you know, not quite as strong now. Singapore seeding 17th last year and 28th this year. Only a 4-person team, which I wasn't quite expecting to see. but really relying on Matrix Dark and Element here. They're 2 3-digit players, with the Funk and iJoseph as kind of the third kind of supporting players. Looks like again that they're pretty good at the hard rock stuff. That's kind of where they seem to stand out the most, but relatively consistent overall though. So kind of looks like they know what they've got going for them, and they'll probably not be bad at any pick. So every single pick that they have, they're always going into it. So that's a pretty good position to be in. So we'll have to wait and see what they do.
All right, moving on to seed number 27, we have Switzerland, led by team captain MC2BB. I'm quite surprised by their seeding here. I'm recognizing some of the players there. I would have expected them to seed a bit higher. They did seed 17 last year, and the roster has shrunk a little bit. They had 5 players last year. This year they only have 4. That could be one of the reasons why, because now in 3v3, there was having a smaller team is a huge disadvantage. Looking at the performances, they seem to have pretty big weakness on hidden. Maybe they couldn't field 3 players for that, but everything else they seem to do significantly better.
And it's Hong Kong for seed 26. A very, very significant roster change, as you can see, as they seeded 5th last year. But all very respected players in their own right. Yeah, doing pretty well all-rounded, actually, with a really significant score on taiko once again. Seems like a lot of these lower-seeded teams have dedicated a lot of practice towards the gimmick map, and as I said with Australia,
when
you're showcasing that you can put in a lot of practice into, just one map, but just in general a whole pool, there's still the potential to kind of improve throughout the tournament and each pool and kind of outlast your seeding. So I'm looking forward to see what they can do and hope that they can uphold the legacy that Hong Kong has built up in previous years.
If you look at their, just by the ranks, you wouldn't expect them to have qualified at all, so they've done pretty good for themselves, actually, I would say.
Yeah, I do have to say I was one of the people that actually predicted Hong Kong not qualifying, so it's a nice surprise to see them seeded at 26th.
We've got Youngin as well, who's casting, so that's great. We get that representation, caster representation. The first caster there's Beat as well, of course, but yeah. Right, moving on to seed number 25, maintaining their seeding from last year. We've got the Netherlands, led by Cookie Tree, and he's backed up by his fellow team of Dutch people. I think the roster has had a bit of a change, actually. There's quite a few new faces here, and not that many returning ones. I think Cookie Tree and Strikeiser are the only people who were playing last year. Looking at their performances, clearly they're very good at hidden. Their best performance, getting 15th on Hidden 1. That's in the top half of all the performances, so well done to them. And across the board, they seem to be doing alright as well. I'd say hard rock is something they probably have a bit of a struggle with. But yeah, that's really good.
Okay, C23, it's Argentina. Down a wee bit from last year, but that's somewhat expected with a bit of a roster change. New team, kind of new dynamic to learn together. But probably one of the first times we've actually seen kind of one of the lower seeded teams actually not do that great on No Mod 3. They've kind of seemed to just think, nah, this isn't for us. Let's do well on absolutely everything else. And that is what they've gone and done. So, pretty overall strong team though. Like, I see 5 3-digits in there. So they'll have a pretty wide range of skills that they can sort of work with each other in this 3v3 format on. So I think this is a team, especially with their history, has the potential to get further than their seeding suggests. So I feel like this is definitely a team to watch out for.
Okay, we've been interrupted. Okay, we're here to mention that their seed is actually 24. I think we skipped a number there.
I did think I did stop for a second and think, but
yeah, they have the same seeding as the upcoming team, but then there was a tiebreaker, which was they had the lower average score, which is why they seeded 24th instead of 23rd. So they had the same rank in terms of the rank seeding, but then because their score on average was lower, it was given to the next country. Drum roll. We have Czechia. Right. Czechia is an interesting country this year because it actually has, it's made up of 2 countries. So we have Czechia and we have some players from Slovakia who are joining under the same flag. Yeah, seems like a pretty solid team. They placed 25th last year, and they're seeded 23rd this year. So they seem to have pretty decent performances across the board. No clear weaknesses, no clear strengths. Just looking at their team roster, I don't recognize this person, but Golden? Do you know this
Golden?
player?
Yeah, absolutely. Golden is a player that has kind of risen up significantly through the ranks over kind of the past year or two. But before then, I'd never heard of the name. But they're continually showing that they're a player that can constantly adapt and learn the new skills to rise through the ranks. Achieving top 50 global in this game is a pretty rare thing to do and a very difficult thing to do. And around all of these other players in the Czechia team as well, honestly, I'm surprised that they only seeded 23rd. I think this is a team that if they dedicate a lot of practice to the pools, again, they are going to do much better than their seeding suggests, I think.
Yeah, maybe someone wasn't there for the qualifier. Who knows?
We'll just have to wait and see. And for C22, it's Poland, doing better than last year when they seeded 25th. This team often goes through quite a lot of roster changes in recent years, but one player that stays consistent through them all is Bernard at 351, everyone's favourite speed player. And no, that's kind of reflected towards, pretty good seedings there, 24th and 25th in the DT. But it looks like they shine most in the no mods by the look of it. 20th on no mod 2, 19th on no mod 3. But their scores on the hidden and hard rock are also pretty good, so it looks like they're a fairly well-rounded team. And as I've said previously, that's a pretty strong position to be in. You don't have any significant weaknesses, so you can just kind of play absolutely anything and play to your opponent's weaknesses, which is a very advantageous position to be in. So I look forward to seeing what they can do in the matches and hopefully cause some upsets.
Yeah, it's interesting. Looking at the no mod, is this like, I forget what's called. Is it called Simpsons Paradox? Because how they get 19, 20, and 24, but then overall they still get 19th. Like, how is the average of 19, 20, and 24 19? How does that even work?
Don't question it.
Yeah. Weird. Stats are weird. Blame Leo. Okay, moving on to the next team. We have Norway, who had a massive improvement from last year from not qualifying to seed 21. So that's a huge improvement. And in part, I think, is to do with, the roster looks almost exactly the same. It looks, no, wait, actually, no, they have Petr D. I don't know how to say his name. Petard?
I've always said just Eterde. I don't know.
Eterne.
I'm just
Okay.
making up most of the names that I say, to be honest. I just only change it when people shout at me.
Clearly, very strong player in the top 100, and that's might be one of the reasons why they placed much higher. But I'm sure the other players were there to support as well. Seems like they have clear strengths on all categories except for hidden. But no, wait, their speed hidden was really good. This is really weird.
Yeah, Norway is a very strange country in terms of ranks. Like, they have no 3 digits in this team. But anyone that knows any of these players, particularly Vendelicious, Mist, and Loth, you know that their ranks really do not reflect their skill. I believe Mist is the 4-digit player who's past Galaxy Collapse. So, you know, when you know these kind of things, then it paints a better picture in understanding why Norway has seeded 21st, and that they are very capable in this tournament and definitely deserving of that seed.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they'll be able to do.
And for seed 20, it's Mexico, a country that has been around for a long time, very consistent in the World Cups, and doing better than last year as well, where they seeded 25th. You can pretty clearly see that Hidden 1 is a very significant strength for them, seeding overall 14th for the Hidden, which outlies quite a lot compared to everything else. With DT kind of looking like a weakness, but that's okay, because you can just ban one of them and accept the loss on the other, and then just kind of wipe the floor with the other team on everything else. So definitely some good potential for this team, and quite a lot of recognizable players as well. Some have been around for quite a long time, but also some newer faces to kind of spice things up.
All right, moving on to the next country, we have Spain, who did not qualify last year, just barely missing it out by 3 places, to going all the way to seed 19. So that's a huge improvement. And that's in part due to the return of Alvaro, Spain's top player, with the most cursed taiko playstyle ever. Are you aware of Alvaro's playstyle?
Unfortunately, it has graced my presence before, yeah.
Okay. He's also backed up by a few other players, all in the 3-digit range. And some of them have played last year as well. So they're certainly experienced.
Yeah, I think some significant players to note are Alsail and One Burst Man, where they're both players that have kind of appeared over the last kind of year or two, but have really risen through the ranks and shown themselves as very capable players and help kind of giving life back to Spain as a very competitive country, as they, in previous World Cups, they've performed quite well. And over the past couple of years, they've kind of been lying low, as you say, you know, seed 35 last year. But they're on the rise again, and they're not going down without a fight.
The rise of Europe. Yeah, they've got strong performances on the mods, it seems, Hidden and Hard Rock especially, and DT as well. So that's pretty good.
Okay, seed 18 is New Zealand, a country that has, once again, another country that has kind of risen up very significantly over the last couple of years. You know, only in 2020 they were a team that were never kind of even getting out of the group stage, never even winning
even
a match.
Making a team,
or even making a team, yeah.
Yeah.
And now here they are with a 6-person team. And everyone knows, especially Janitor of New Zealand's legacy last year, where they caused some pretty significant upsets, and I'm very willing to watch them do it once again.
They have New Zealand, the player.
Exactly, like, the whole country of New Zealand is on this team. Like, do you think you can stop them? I want to see you try. But yeah, all of these players have been playing pretty consistently and improving. Like, I see them on the leaderboards and rising up the ranks, and just in general improving their tournament skills, which is the most important for the World Cup, of course. So I'm honestly very excited to see what they can do and if they can cause any more upsets this year.
All right, and rounding up the bottom half of the seeds, we have the Russian Federation, or just Russia. We have a lot of interesting usernames there. Is this some kind of like collab? Anyway, last year they seeded 17th. They've maintained that position this year, and yeah, seems to be a very capable team. They've got clear strengths and some clear weaknesses as well, in particular hidden. But looking at their Hard Rock and Noma scores, very terrifying. See, number 9 on Hard Rock 1, that's like that's 3 million score on Hard Rock 1, that's really impressive. It's a very difficult map to get good accuracy on. So, yeah, well done to them.
Yeah, I think they're very prepared for the World Cup this year, and yeah, once again, we're just kind of looking forward to see what they do. Of course, with their funny name collab and everything, how can you not love Russia?
All right, with seed number 16, we will actually start to know who the countries are facing against. So, Philippines will be playing against Russia. Okay, but Teasel, please introduce the Philippines.
Alright, yeah. So, yep, seed 16, the Philippines. Significantly improved from last year. And building up a team of pretty much the country's strongest players. So that the Philippines is giving everything they have to offer for TWC this year. And I mean, just look at that hidden to 9th place overall. You know, it's pretty strong, but unfortunately hidden to kind of dragging them back a wee bit. But at that aside, if you just look at the overall ranks, it's like really consistent. Like 18th or 19th on the No Mod, 21 on Hidden, 19 on Hard Rock, and 15 for DT and Free Mod. So once again, this is a team that's like pretty well rounded in absolutely everything. And, you know, once again, a very strong type of team to have.
Moving on to seed number 15, we have Indonesia, who came 3rd last year, and this year they've dropped in seeding to, seed 15. And this is mainly due to a huge roster change. Last year they had a powerhouse team featuring XK, PM Riva, and Nishizumi, and KDK as well, I think. But this year the roster's changed a lot, and I think those guys are they've just retired. I don't know. They're taking a break this year, I guess. But still, not to take anything against this team is still very strong. They've got really good performances, very well-rounded coverage, as we see in their qualifiers performance, with nothing falling below 17th. So they're definitely an above-average team. Particular performances on HR2, they seeded 11th for that one, so very impressive on the fast HR. But
yeah, a team that's definitely fighting to protect the legacy set last year, and they're doing a really great job of it so far, so keep it up.
Honestly crazy how Indonesia came out of nowhere last year. It's a lot of teams do this, like a lot of countries have this thing where suddenly everyone shows up and they go to town. It's actually insane. Like, Australia is an example of this as well. Like, Australia, we saw earlier, a lot of top players didn't play this year. It's like they're taking a break this year. It's really weird, I find this. Like, you don't see this in the other game modes as much. I think taiko is kind of unique, where people just decide, oh, we're not going to play this year.
Well, I wonder if we have any situations like that this year.
Yeah. Indonesia will be facing off again. Let's have a look. Indonesia will be facing off New Zealand. Uh,
That'll be a good
in the,
match.
yeah, that'll be really close.
And their neighbours Malaysia get seed 14 and just beat them out. This is a really strange roster to me because they're a 5-person team. All 5 players played last year. They just dropped a single player. Jack A just disappeared and just not replaced by anyone. But nevertheless, very, very strong team. You can purely see that in the ranks, and all of these players are very recognizable. Just across the whole scene of Osu, as players, tournament players, BNs, storyboards, like you name it, tournament hosting, like they're there. It's a very, very active country in all sides of Osu, and another thing that they're very active in is getting really great scores on Hidden 1, getting 7th and 7th overall on the Hidden, so definitely appearing like their strong suit. But 14th on No Mod, Hard Rock, DT, and then 10th on the Free Mod as well. Yeah, they look pretty ready despite being down 1 player, and yeah, they should be pretty good, pretty strong.
If I can add anything to this, is that the average score for Malaysia was over 100,000 points higher than Indonesia. So this is a huge step up from seed number 15.
Okay.
So I don't think we see a gap anywhere near that big in the rest of the seedings. So this is where the teams start getting significantly more powerful, like the huge step. And also, their next opponents will be Spain in the round of 32. All right, coming in at seed 13, we have Finland. They've maintained last year's seeding as well. What is this? Like, how do teams keep doing this? How can they get away with this? Okay, what to say about Finland? Well, clearly they're really good at hidden and double time. I recognize Megamela. He's a really good speed player. And as you can see, double time 2, they got number 7. That's their best performance. I'd say Finland is really good overall. Like, they've got strong coverage on the mods. They've got good hidden performance, and their hard rock isn't too bad. And their tech performance as well. Look at their Space Angel score. It's like number 11. Yeah, a lot of recognizable names of this team. Many of them are tournament veterans.
Dusky, Antti, and Vodnanen generally forming the backbone of Finland, especially in TWC, kind of being the 3 main players that have been playing a lot of the maps. But it's nice seeing it. You know, Megamela is an absolute incredible speed player, but is still very good at other things as well, being part of the Suigi team that won recently, from the very beginning as well. And Mazuli 500 is a new player for Finland in TWC, but they've been around in other tournament scenes as well, and showing off their skills. So even though they're only a 5-person team, Finland are very, very strong, especially in the early rounds, so very much a team to watch out for in the early stages.
Oh yeah, and their next opponent will be Mexico.
And for C12 is Brazil, seeding slightly lower than last year. They do have a bit of a roster change, but if just looking at purely the average ranks, incredibly strong team still. The team, not quite the team that achieved 3rd place a couple of years ago, but not too far from it either. And you can definitely see that maps such as Hard Rock 1 and Double Time 1 very much play into their skill sets. But also getting 5th place on No Mod 1, I think that's the first top 5 that we've seen so far. So a team that's, you know, seeded 12th, but getting scores that are contesting into the top 5 is kind of quite a scary idea. and having to play against them at any stage of the tournament, you're constantly going to have to keep that sort of thing in mind and attempt to play around it, and that can be quite difficult to do sometimes. So I think Brazil has a lot of potential this year to potentially get a bit further than 12th.
Yeah, if I can shout out one particular player, it'd be Foxaru, who was only one of 3 players who was able to SS No Mod 1. And by the way, these statistics will be publicly available after the showcase finishes. But and he also got a really good score on No Mod 2 as well, placing 6th. So that's very impressive. Very strong accuracy. Brazil will be facing off against... Who will they facing off? They would be facing off against Norway in the round of 32. Moving on to seed number 11, we have Canada. Now, Canada historically has been a very scary team, but they've seen many roster changes in recent years. Last year, they had Fachi and Visha, who are missing this year, but there's still many capable players, and they've maintained a fairly close in terms of seeding. Looking at their qualifier results, they have clear strengths on Hard Rock and Free Mod especially. I believe they had a triple hidden Hard Rock score that was really strong, so that's insane. They had something like a triple hidden Hard Rock FC, so very strong over there. Tiza, what are your thoughts on Canada?
Yeah, still, despite not kind of having their very seasoned players, still quite a lot of recognizable names, but also being around the community. Dize is quite a new player that's just kind of come up through the ranks and has breached the top 100. Askroots is another player that I think they only first played in TWC for the first time last year, but were absolutely incredible at pretty much anything they played. And I think SMG3 is kind of the only player that I don't really recognize as much, but... I
recognize him as a mapper, not as a player.
Okay, so that kind of knowledge perhaps coming into the team as well, and that could be useful in different ways.
Here he's got a taiko force. He might use it to, taiko over everyone.
Yeah, that power, once it's unleashed, it absolutely cannot be stopped, so I look forward to it.
Oh, Canada's opponent will be Poland in the round of 32.
And for our first country in the top 10, it's Chile. A very, very strong team. We have Ulki, Mukia, and a new player, iNeon. All 3 of them are in the top 50, which, especially in a 3v3 format, is absolutely incredible. Some of the strongest players in the game, and all 3 of them are on the same team here. And we can see a lot of this represented in their overall results. We have a 4th place on Space Angel. Still very good score on Nomad 3, but also just overall on Hidden 2, DT2, and still some very other good supporting scores around the other ones. Their worst score is 12th place. How can you fault that, really? And, despite, they have their other 3 players as well, and taking a look at their profiles, all 3 of them are very competent at all the mods. These are not just some throwaway players. These are very, very strong backup players that will absolutely play a significant role in the team as well. So all of these 6 working together is going to produce quite the powerhouse of a team throughout the tournament. And
makes you wonder why they didn't seed higher.
Yeah, anything can happen in the qualifiers, but what really matters is the matches themselves, and that's Chile's sort of time to shine fully. So yeah, that's definitely a team that I'm looking forward to kind of seeing do really well this year.
Chile's opponent will be Czechia in the round of 32. Very similar colors for the countries.
All right, moving on to seed number 9. This might come as a surprise to some individuals, but we have Germany, who last year seeded 4, but this year seeded 9. Um, Very powerhouse team. It seems to be one of the favorites to come top 3 this year, I think. Their roster remains completely unchanged from last year, having narrowly missed a victory, losing to Indonesia. Uh, what can we say about this team? They're very good. It, One thing that you should take into account is that in the qualifiers, I don't think Kuchi was there. So they're missing their star player, and that seems to have made a significant impact on their qualifier seeding. But they're capable. Even without him, they were able to seed 9th, which is a testament to how strong this team actually is. We've got tournament veterans throughout, players as old as the game. We got so yeah, lots of strong performances there.
Yeah, this is the team that they got 4th place last year, like as well. So they were fighting against
Indonesia's
Indonesia,
not here anymore.
and Indonesia's not here.
Well,
so this
last
might
year's
be
Indonesia.
this might be Germany's year for the top 3, and I'm here for it. I fully support them, and it'd be very exciting to see another team from Europe get into the podium position.
Germany's opponent will be not Argentina. Wait, no, yes, Argentina. Yeah, Germany's opponent will be Argentina in the round of 32.
And a team that placed really, really well this year is China, seed 8, improving significantly from 17th of last year. This is a team of pretty recognizable players who have incredible skills across the board. 3 of these players were part of the Chinese team that won 3TWC a couple of years ago, and the remaining players that weren't part of that team have their incredible skills in their own right, and you can see that with their ranks. 3rd place on both No Mod 1 and No Mod 3, and Double Time 1. So, we've gotten Pasha's Breach in the top 5. Now we're getting teams getting to the top 3 multiple times, and with other scores, like getting 6th place on both the hiddens, and 7th on free mod, very, very strong. Does seem like hard rock and kind of more technical style maps are not quite their skills, but Double
Only
Time
need to
1.
have a few strengths to win a match.
Yeah,
You just need to be
exactly.
really good at what you do to win, or at least
Exactly.
force a
And
tiebreaker.
I mean, Double Time 1 you could consider a technical style map, and they got 3rd place on it, so it could just be down to the map itself. So it might depend pool on pool, but this team as well, last year they seeded 17th, and they took the significantly higher seeded Taiwan to tiebreaker, and Taiwan is a very, very strong team, especially last year. So they still have a huge amount of potential, and they're really going to be showcasing that in the matches, I feel.
Oh, and China's opponent will be the Netherlands. So looking forward to that. All right, moving on to seed number 7. We've got the UK. Hooray!
Yay.
Yeah, that's better placing than I think we seeded 10th last year. I say we, I didn't play.
Yeah, it was 10th, I believe. So improvement.
Great. So yeah, what to say about the UK? I think in a 3v3, I feel the UK sort of does better, possibly. I'm not sure. Obviously, there's our beloved Gohigi, who can do anything, and he's backed up by players who have stepped up over the course of many years. Looking at the performances, there's a clear strength towards No Mod and Hard Rock, and it seems like looking at Hidden and Fremont, it seems to be not as strong. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really have much to say about the UK without sounding too biased. And I'm
Yeah,
sure.
there is also a very slight roster change where one of the arguably star players from last year, Metso, has stepped down, and Inspect Element has come in and taken his place. A player that, again, being one of these players that has kind of just appeared and really quickly rose through the ranks into the top 100. So, pretty good team overall, and we'll see how they do.
Well, the UK's opponent will be. Who are they facing?
I think it's Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. It'll be Hong Kong. Yeah, that's right. Hey, I've played for both of those countries.
Who will you?
Who I support? I don't know.
But anyway, France has seeded 6th place. This is another team that I feel has kind of come back up very recently. You know, this was a team that got 3rd place in, I believe, both 2014 and 2015. And kind of since then, like, they've been around, but they haven't been a very, very strong team. But I think the last kind of year or two, especially this year, they have built an incredibly strong team and showcased that they are in contention for being one of the top teams and top countries once again for Taiko. And that is very exciting to me. Seeing another team from Europe just kind of rise up again after kind of being not around and not as present for a while. And yeah, look at those seeds for Hidden. Number 3 on both of them. So it looks like they are a pretty Hidden focused country, but with everything else being not too far behind, what else is there to say except I wish them the best of luck, really.
One thing I really do like about France is that they have an active tournament scene in their own country. They have their Taiko, they have their own France 1v1 Taiko Cup. I know other countries have this as well, like the US, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, they really do push each other and basically force each other to improve, and they elevate each other to the level they are at right now.
So not only have they improved and gotten to seed 6, but they've really been working for this, and it looks like it's really paid off so far. And they're gonna keep going, and they're gonna go until the very end. So yeah, best of luck to them, honestly.
I'm sure they'll have excellent team synergy as they know each other inside and out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited to watch them.
Their next opponent will be Switzerland, which I believe is very close.
Yes, it is. That'll be a very friendly match, I think.
Okay, moving on to seed number 5. South Korea, who placed 2nd in the Taiko World Cup 2022 last year. This year, we're seeing some significant roster changes, most notably a Peaceful, long-time tournament superstar powerhouse, whatever you want to call him, is not playing, along with Applers as well. Instead, he has been replaced by Olo, who is the team captain, but we do have some returning favorites, such as Bamgo, also known as 4_4, and I also recognize a few other names here as well, who have played in previous Taiko World Cups. Looking at the qualifier results, they're very strong on Hard Rock and Double Time, which is not that surprising considering the roster composition, but everything else they've done exceptionally well as well. I would say maybe their weakness, they have a slight weakness on Hidden. And that might be because they've lost those 2 aforementioned players who are well known for their Hidden ability. Anything to say about South Korea?
Not so much. It's interesting as well to see that this is a team that has achieved podium position last 4 iterations of the Taiko World Cup. So they're here returning, aiming to claim their fifth time as a podium country. So even though they've only seeded 5th, they're definitely fighting for that as well. And I definitely wouldn't count them out.
South Korea's opponent will be Singapore.
And this one I'm very, very excited about. Italy has seeded 4th, compared to 17th last year. Italy has often been a country that honestly just kind of underperforms when it comes to the matches in TWC. But, you know, this year it really looks like they're aiming to turn this around. 4th place is the highest that like Italy has ever like managed to get, I'm pretty sure. And, you know, this is a really, really strong team. Very, very well-known faces. And, you know, just looking at their overall results, like we see our 1st place on the Hidden 2. And, you know, backed up with things like 2nd place on Free Mod, 3rd on DT2, 2nd on No Mod 2. Like, this team is very clearly a strong, strong team. And, you know, very powerful. And, you know, if they keep going at this sort of pace, you know, they definitely have the potential to potentially get a podium, I feel. You know, I don't want them to write the script too soon, of course, but yeah, it's pretty exciting for Italy. You know, especially, you know, if you look back to say like 2017, they were like a 2-person roster country of just like Ikun and Deku, and now look at
we had to give them a special exception to play, actually, because like normally we wouldn't allow teams with only 2 players to play in the 2v2. But because they were 2 very promising players, we let them play. And I don't think they qualified anyway. But if not for that, I don't think the taiko scene would have kicked off in Italy. So they've come a long way for sure.
Yeah, it's similar kind of thing to some other countries like in Europe, such as kind of France and Spain as well. Not necessarily with Italy, they were never really a prominent country like Spain and France were. But they're still very clearly showing that upward trend that those 2 countries are as well. And, you know, this could potentially be their year. And yeah, I'm here for it.
Italy's opponent will be Australia in the round of 32. All right, and moving into the top 3 of seeding, we have Taiwan. Historically, they've had 2nd place since God knows, I don't know, since forever. Then Korea came along, and it seemed like Taiwan was going to take a back seat. But it seems like this year, their roster is a bit of a fusion of old and new. We've got old tournament veterans like Monkey D. Luffy, who's played since TWC 2015, I believe, or possibly 14. Stu, who's been around just as long. And we've got other old players as well. And then we've got some new ones, like Sevco and Polomo, who've recently shown up to be very promising tournament players as well. Looking at the performances, what can you say? They've got number 1 on Space Angel. What? How? That's crazy. I think like Monkey D. Luffy got like 1/100 on that map. I don't even know how that's possible. Like, it's crazy. Taiwan are looking for the podium again this year. Looking very strong. And yeah, it's good to see them back in form. Teasel?
Yeah, just it's really awesome kind of seeing Taiwan, as you say, kind of back to its former glory in a way. And, you know, I've said this to loads of other teams, but, you know, again, potential for the podium. This TWC seems incredibly competitive. So many teams have potential for that podium, and I honestly can't tell you which one will truly get it. But Taiwan have a very, very good foundation here so far. Seed 3, podium position is the top 3 countries. So far it's looking pretty good for them. That's all I can really say.
I've always felt like Taiwan has historically been able to field a large number of strong players, and that 3v3 benefits them greatly. We'll just have to see how they play their matches. And Taiwan's opponent will be Vietnam.
Drum roll for Seed 2, and it's the United States. Pretty huge for the United States. They seeded 5th last year, but ended it at 9th place. And just look at that roster: Cheese Salad, RJ, Pet, Fruit Loopy, Aurora, and Churro Chef. Like, absolutely pretty much the best that the United States could output this year. And that's absolutely reflected in their overall scores. 2nd place overall on No Mod, 4th overall on Hidden, 1st on the Hard Rock, 4th on the DT, and is that 0? Or no, 6 on the Free Mod.
I mean, they played 0. They were so good that, they're better than 1st.
It's the only way to beat the top seeded country. But yeah, I mean, what is there to say? Yeah, like,
I don't think they placed 1st for anything, but they placed so highly on everything, like on average.
Like, I think one thing you can truly note with the US this year is like the mod coverage. Like, like the worst position they got on a mod was 5th place, unless you count free mod, but that's 6th place, so oh no, how awful. But yeah, like, I've once again, this could be the US's year. This is the year for US redemption for the podium position, but they're gonna have to fight so many other countries that are in a similar position, so but they are in a very good starting position. 2nd place. Their first match will be against Portugal, so yeah. What else is there to say?
Well, I think the US, I would say, historically has had an issue where towards later stages they kind of fall off a little bit because of they get skill gapped essentially. A lot of the maps become inaccessible, but I don't think they'll run into this issue this year. Looking at a lot of the names here, they've definitely risen up to be able to handle that sort of high difficulty level map. So I really do think they've got a chance for the podium this year, a better chance than they've had any other year. But maybe the backfire curse will remain strong. We don't know. That's been going on for a while now.
This could be the year to turn it around.
Drum roll for seed number 1. What a surprise.
We never saw it coming. No way.
Man.
I can't believe it. It's Japan.
Yeah, it's Japan.
It's Japan.
I mean, look, they literally have a red circle in their flag. I mean, they're built for taiko, right? They literally have taiko in their flag. Like, it's just they're born for taiko. I mean, yeah.
Do you think we could change?
Taiko.
Do you think we could convince them to change their flag to just be a taiko drum? Just put a blue outline around the red circle, and it would just be perfect.
We actually see some interesting roster changes this year. Long-time tournament captain Uone has decided to step down finally. I think he's been around since 2015, possibly even earlier. He's won every World Cup since. He's got a string of badges on his profile to indicate his tenure, essentially. Average rank 1 for every mod category. I don't know. They seem pretty unbeatable.
Well, not completely unbeatable if you take a look at No Mod 2 and Hidden 2 getting third and fourth respectively.
So we'll be able to take 2 points away from them. Hooray!
That does look like they have some really significant weaknesses that, you know, the other teams can really take advantage of. And
Only one,
you know,
technically, because they can ban the other one.
I mean, you know, the thing is with these things though, like, you know, it's like a spool of thread, you know, once you pick at it and, you know, you let it start rolling, it's gonna keep rolling. So, you know, maybe that 1 point that a team takes off of Japan, you know, it'll keep spiraling out of control and Japan could be defeated. The reigning world champions in the 3v3 format. You know, these things can always happen.
Japan, the team that every team aspires to be. It's. I can confidently say though this year that it's going to be very exciting to see. I mean, I think it's expected that Japan is likely going to be the winner of this Taiko World Cup, but I think every other team, especially around the top 10 qualifier seeding, have a very good shot for going for the podium this year. I'm very excited to see how it'll play out, especially because of the 3v3 formatting shaking things up.
Yeah,
it's going to be a really good year.
It appears that changing to 3v3 is kind of contrary to kind of popular belief from what I've seen, has actually created something that is way more competitive than 2v2 ever was. And I think you know, we've come back to 3v3 at the right time. I understand in the past that things maybe weren't as good and that's why the switch to 2v2 happened, but we're really in an era where 3v3 definitely seems like the way forward, and this is highly reflected in the teams that these countries have managed to build and the scores that they've showcased so far in the qualifiers. And as we progress further through the tournament, that's hopefully going to become more clear.
Japan's opponent will be Denmark, and they will win the role.
Yeah, they win the role, but overall, you have my condolences, Denmark.
Or a team captain will, you know, lead them into victory. They have the best captain.
The match all starts with the roll, and as I said about that spool of thread, you know, winning that roll is pretty crucial. But,
all right, with the qualifier results out of the way, it's time to move to the round of 32 map pool showcase. Seems like the general feedback, the general reception for the qualifiers pool was very warmly received. So I'm very excited to show off what we have in store for you for the round of 32.
Yeah, I don't feel like casting the pool, to be honest, so I'm probably gonna leave. We have a nice surprise for you though, on my replacement. So I hope that it fills you with joy. So thank you for having me, and enjoy your surprise caster for this year.
Hello.
Oh my god, is it Janitor?
It is. I have finally returned after 1 year.
It's only been 1 year.
It's only been 1 year, as I also commentated for 2021, so...
Wait, that'd be 2 years then.
Is it? I guess
yeah,
so.
because it'd be... like, if you skipped a year, then it'd be 2 years. It's been a year since 2022.
That's fair, but I'm here now, so that's really what's important, right?
Oh, it's good to have you back. I also skipped out on commentary last year, actually, so I'm very rusty.
Yeah, likewise, but Well, a really exciting year with 3v3 finally coming back.
Yeah, remember you guys came third in that format. That was like 7 years ago. How does it feel being old?
Has it really been 7 years?
Yeah, you came
2016
third
feels like it's been a
2016.
year ago.
Really? You, Tasha, Fudgy, and Vlad. The 4 horsemen of Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Is
it's
what
been
we
a
used to
while.
call you anyway. Have you seen the pool yet?
I have. I've taken a look at it.
Okay, without further ado, shall we get right into the pool? All right, so round of 32. So the pool structure is 4 no mod, 2 hidden hard rock, double time, 3 free mods, and a tiebreaker. And coming for no mod 1, we have Spaceman by Cola Kid, mapped by Gameline 4. Difficulty the top diff, so freedom. This is intended to be the consistency map of the pool. It's got an SR of 6.09 and a duration of a little over 3 minutes.
Okay, good to see a No Mod 1 that is not 4 or 5 minutes long.
We value your time, you know, I guess map poolers. We don't want the matches to drag on forever. So looking at the map structure, we've got some 1/4 patterns and some occasional 1/6 in some streams as well. I actually really like this song. It evokes feelings of longing. I don't know if that brings out this song does anything for you.
Yeah, I mean, Cola Kid has actually been kind of a staple in Taiko World Cup for as long as I can really remember. Like, basically every single year there's at least one.
Yeah, so each section, as we see, has a slightly different variation in patterns. We've got a very evil low SV stream.
Yeah, right after a ninja spinner.
Now this replay was set by my mind, and we did it in the playtester lobby. So he was the only one to get SS on it, and then we just decided, yeah, we'll keep this one. It's good.
Probably a good idea. Hard to do better than an SS. Aside from that one low SV section though, this map doesn't seem all too bad. It's pretty standard 1-4 patterns all around. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, I think usually Qualifiers now is calibrated to around like round of 16 quarterfinals levels, so the
Somewhere
maps in
between
general
there,
are easier.
Yeah. About 1.5 stages easier than qualifiers.
Okay, and now we have No Mod 2, which is random, mapped by Rubies87. Already, you can tell that it definitely looks a lot different from No Mod 1. This is, I assume, the tech pick.
That's right.
I'm just really appreciating this song. I'm liking this
You
trend
have microphones.
towards... Yeah.
So it's actually not like your standard pitch. It feels a little weird, but it does create a very interesting effect.
I'm really liking this tech trend towards these kind of I'm not even sure how I would describe it, but just weird maps. And of course, all the Nomad aside from one are all OD6, so this is not too bad.
Well, you say that, but no one's got a double S on the leaderboard.
Oh, this is ranked.
Yeah, Nomad 1 and 2 are ranked. Jai mentioned that getting the SS on this was kind of hell.
I can imagine, given how it looks. Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, so it's 132 BPM, but there's 1.8 views.
Oh god, that ended. That sounds like the
That
kind of
ending
map
snap. That ending snap has. Well, Jai and I had a discussion about this. We were trying to figure out what it was snapped to. And I actually ended up messaging Sobram about it, who asked me to look at the BMS file. Yeah, we've determined that it's just completely random. It's not actually snapped to anything. We have some very big fractions, but we can't figure out what it's snapped to. So that's tech. That's tech today.
Yeah, that's the tech map for you.
Moving on to Noma 3, we have Randa Gohen featuring Mitchell by Rabbit House. This is mapped by Fiery Rage, the standard player. Very surprising. But he's done an excellent job. I mean, he signed up to map for TWC, so it's like, yeah, why not? We'll give him a try, and he produced this, which was really good. This is intended as a speed map. It's 270 BPM, a life of 2 minutes. As you can see, very short burst-like patterns with triplets and quints, and some 1/3.
Yeah, I think I expect this to be really popular, if only because a lot of teams like picking fast snowboard maps. It tends to be something really comfortable for a lot of people. And of course, this is the only Nomad that is not OD6, it's OD 6.5.
As we enter the final Ki, SP increases a bit, and we also have longer passages.
Some 1/3 here and there as well, which is interesting. You can't only be on your 1/4 kind of mentality for it.
And Fiery Rage is the taiko player now. He is the taiko player now. I don't understand what it is with standard players and their diff names. Like everyone else in this map pool has very reasonable diff names. And then
Yeah.
in standard, they just
Oni
have like
only.
30 characters long or something. It's
Yeah, or for some maps with basically an entire sentence. Okay, now we have Nomad 4, Time Machine, mapped by Finmi. Unsurprisingly, the lowest SR. of the no mods, not actually of the pool. Just under 2 minutes, and also OD6, and... Okay, so this is a low SV.
This is a song by Water Flame, which means you can't actually flame this gimmick map.
Oh, okay. Some, I forget what this gimmick is specifically called.
Kind of like Donkama, right?
Yeah. It's still mostly 1/4 though, and in a stream, so it's not too bad. All the notes are connected.
The only difficult part is when it's not connected.
I think what's always been my favorite part of every new World Cup has been how the gimmick maps tend to evolve. The gimmick maps just look so different from year to year.
Yeah,
this part is evil.
The rhythms are simple though. Gimmicks have come a long way since their introduction in TWC in 2017. Some bar line memorization here. So in contrast to the qualifiers, you'll notice that we've selected a smaller range of gimmicks in this map. So hopefully it will make for a more enjoyable playing experience.
I hope this doesn't keep getting banned out, because it looks really learnable, and it looks really fun to watch.
Next map, on the other hand, is something well, Hidden One is weird, right? Like, I've historically pushed for things to be different in Hidden One. And this year, I've opted to to ask Hy-Vee for an edit version for the ranked map of Kamino Kotoba. But this is the different song. This one's by Yuyo Yuppei. So it's the same song, but just the original, I guess? Or is it the original? I'm actually not sure. I think the Lishka one is the cover, right?
I think so. I would assume so, because I think so. Also, would you mind saying what the BPM of this map is, just for...
110, right? It's 110 BPM hidden, but it does have lower than 1.0 SV. So the intro was 0.5. The first 4 notes is like 55 BPM. But then this section right here is 0.85, I think. So it's under 100 BPM. But this is this exact same map as the ranked version. It's just a cut version with slightly increased SVs.
Okay, so it's not too bad, all things considered. It could have been worse.
Alright. And then we have the Ki, which has very annoying bar lines.
Yeah, that actually kind of matters for Hidden, doesn't it? Because it's usually a good way to keep yourself on rhythm, but it's not much of a help here.
I've anticipated that a lot of teams will be banning this, but I do want to see how teams react to playing this. It's one of the shortest maps in the pool. It's one of the few maps that's less than 2 minutes. And we hope teams... And because of its short length and the low SR, we hope teams will be encouraged to try and practice and potentially see this played, rather than just, slow hidden ban, please. I've always been one to advocate for different styles of Hidden One, and I think it's quite fun to play once you get the hang of it. But I hope teams aren't too apprehensive about picking this.
Well, I think we'll just have to see about that. Okay, now we have a pretty standard Hidden 2. Well, I say standard. I think it does have a BPM range. But the more readable of the Hiddens. 5.39 stars, a little over 2 minutes. It ranges from, I think that's 222 to 265 BPM.
So the majority of the map, right now, what we're listening to right now is 222. and that'll be the wave for like 90% of the map until like the very end of the map. And, this is Overload by Missile Punch.
It's a very weird OD at 6.3.
One thing to note that this map, majority of the early section of the map is actually like roughly 1.1 times SV, so we're looking at an equivalent of 240 BPM SV.
It's 1-3 in here as well, and minor SV on the finishes.
Relatively straightforward snappings, mostly 1/3, mostly 1/4. All right, and then we're about to head to the speed up.
Oh, okay, so this is where it's going.
Not yet, I don't think. The bit after this.
Okay, this is where it speeds up actually. Okay. Feels like that could be a map where if scores are really close up to that point, they could flicker back and forth. Or if a team has a lead but can't read the ending, it could also swap back afterwards, so something to look out for.
Moving on to HR1, we have Crescent Sakura by M108. This is the ranked beatmap set by Anti. And this is the difficulty Inner Oni, not the top diff. It's the second to top diff. It's got a SR of 4.92, which is deceptively low, I would say. And a BPM of 155. This is intended as the accuracy pick of HR1. It's got 1/3 and 1/4 throughout, which are notoriously difficult to get good judgment on high OD. It's got 1/6 as well.
Oh, geez, that happened.
It's like here, where it's like 1/4 and then it goes to 1/3. You have to be really tight about your accuracy.
And again. I'm always curious about how popular these sorts of hard rock maps are. Fast HR usually gets banned out pretty quickly, but that usually leaves the tech hard rock open.
I think tech hard rock gets very interesting towards the later stages, but in the early stage, we have to keep it relatively tame.
Definitely still enough in here for a really good hard rock team to really make a difference against a team that might not be as comfortable on these sorts of maps.
The reading isn't too difficult on this one, it's all on the accuracy. Thank you, Naren, with the SS.
Okay, we have the speed hard rock, F Rosenet by Ekin 5050. 5.34 stars, also not too high. Just around 2 minutes, 2:19. Hard Rock
Yeah,
are
this is-
also base OD6, so no OD7 just yet.
Look. But this is intended as obviously the speed HR. This is a custom map by Ikin, as we felt that we wanted something very specific for our HR2, which we felt the rank section could provide. It's got a very tricky 1/8 doublets and some 1/6 quads as well. This map is really well done, I have to say. It's one of my favorites in this pool.
I think usually at these early stages, the fast Hard Rock doesn't keep getting banned out as much as it does later on when it reaches like 250 or 260-ish, so I still think this will be picked quite.
One of two big streams.
That didn't seem pretty intuitive overall.
It's what we want for Hard Rock, right? For round of 32. We actually like the nerf bits of this map. Actually, it used to be like 230 BPM SV, so we had to bring it down.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. Moving on to DT1, we have the shortest map of the pool, clocking in at just under a minute and a half. We have Blue Stolly by Blue Stolly, mapped by not Blue Stolly, mapped by Jotsu. This is the lower diff, the inner Oni, and this is intended as a 1/4 plus 1/6 DT tech act. The song does feel a lot longer than it actually is, though. I will say that.
I think teams overall had relatively strong performance on DT1 in the qualifiers, and this is certainly nowhere close to that level of difficulty just yet.
There are a lot of offhand 1/6 if you're a KDDK player.
I think some really helpful SV though for reading this map, so that's definitely nice.
Oh, that's a nasty one. Yeah, we hope you guys enjoy Blue Stolly.
Now a very different kind of song, Digital Life Hack, which is 240 BPM, the kind of speed DT. And both the DT are base OD 5.5.
Correct?
The weird scaling, that's 9 point something.
9.17. Yeah, this is pure 1/4. I don't think there's any other snap but 1/4.
I played some longer passages in there, so for some players this might be a little bit more taxing in terms of stamina than some of the other maps.
That's intended to serve as a contrast to our Nomad 3, which is this is the second fastest, consistently fastest map in the pool. So we've opted for longer passages and overall a higher OD as well.
But the patterns are very straightforward in this one, and it's one of the easier maps in the pool.
And it's still a speed where a lot of people are still comfortable with single tapping. So that's definitely very conducive to that. A little bit of a break in that previous section, but right back into all the 1-4.
The replays were... Have you noticed all the replays we've gotten so far?
Yeah,
We've,
they've all been double less.
Yeah, do you think that's going to continue?
I expect it to break around maybe round of 16 quarterfinals-ish.
We try.
Oh, yeah, I guess unless the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Moving on to Free Mod 1, we have Side Quest by Red Side. This was an OS original. He debuted in OWC 2022, and I liked the song so much that when I first heard the song, I basically told Red Side, we need to use this for TWC. So here it is.
You always love to see the OS originals in map rules.
Yeah. This map is 3 minutes long, and it's intended to be a generic map with doublet precisions. So it's OD 6.5, so with Hard Rock it becomes OD 9.1, which is kind of weird because like all the maps actually have higher OD than the Hard Rock maps, but it tests a more extreme. Hard Rock maps are a bit more extreme on their respective skill sets. So yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine that pooling for free mod. Is it any different with the changed free mod rules?
Ooh, that's interesting. So one thing we have to consider is that because teams have to field a hidden and hard rock player, we have to ensure a map is actually, or rather, a map doesn't necessarily have to be as balanced for hidden or hard rock, because it wouldn't give either team necessarily a huge advantage. Because like if both teams have to play hidden and hard rock, they both have to field a player. It wouldn't favor necessarily a hidden only team or a hard rock only team. I don't know if I'm making sense there.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, because everyone is forced to field one anyway, so that player still bears that burden.
Yeah, but of course we do try and make the free mod maps balanced. You know, they have to be doable. But there is less a need for them to be really rigorously balanced, at least on a map level.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is all the first time since, for quite a few years I think, where you can't actually go triple hidden hard rock on a map. So some teams might benefit a bit more from that as well. Especially on
it's the only year you can do hidden hard rock, because you couldn't do hidden hard rock back in 2016. It wasn't a valid mod combination, and in 2017 they had that. Oh wait, you could have done triple hidden hard rock in 2017, but only on certain maps.
Yeah, well, I think in
mod.
practice in 2017 basically not, but 18 and maybe 19 you could.
But you could have triple though, because it's 2v2.
Oh, right. Oh, I forgot about that, yeah. Okay, we have Okay by Tokyo Machine, that by Trollocat. This is ranked, I think.
This is a ranked map, yeah.
A lot. Yeah, 4.84 or so. Lowest of the free mod, but it's definitely not easy.
We're in a weird spot where the SR on client and the SR on like they don't match up, because the client calculates SR on the old system, but the website does it on the new system.
Oh, yes.
So whatever SR, the SRs I have on my sheet are the website SRs, the new SR.
I really love those extremely short spinners.
Yeah, they'll be tricky on hard rock.
Oh, right, yeah. That probably adds like a tick or two.
Yeah, 128 BPM. This is kind of a pseudo 256, if you can think of it that way.
Yeah, getting good accuracy on the 1/8, especially if you're playing hard rock or hit hard rock, seems like it would be really difficult.
This is intended as the anti-mod. As you can imagine, its low BPM makes reading hidden kind of like patience game, and with the high SV bursts as well, it makes it difficult for hard rock.
And then this kind of 1/3, 1/6 section is this right snap for it.
Yeah, it's 1/4 plus 1/6. Even though it looks like 1/4.
Yeah, so those 1/8 definitely look really dangerous. Probably not the kind of map you want to overmod.
Now, with how many tricky sections there are, if you end up breaking too many times, you will get a lower score than if you didn't put a mod.
And of course this ending, which I assume isn't very fun for hidden.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Oh, sorry. And Fremont 3, do you want to take this one? Wait, or am I
Yes.
supposed to take this one?
I think it's supposed to be you.
Oh, it's supposed to be me. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm doing the playing, so I'm busy playing. So you
That's
take
fair,
this
that's
one.
fair. Okay, so we have one life left to live. The classic, it's an N-Wolf map. And, oh geez, there's already a lot happening. So this is 6.21 stars, just over 2 minutes, 175 BPM. Oh, it's still going. I thought it would stop after I finished, but okay, so this is probably a stream-free mod.
It is a stream-free mod.
Yeah, just guessing. Which is interesting because, at least back when I was still actively playing, that was more of a thing for the later stages. But now you have 2 back-to-back death streams.
Yeah, and the hardest part of the map to act. This is
Oh
hell.
no. Oh no.
Thank God that's over. That bit will kill everyone's act. Like, no one is, like, getting through that unscathed, especially with mods, is insane. On Hidden, you're basically doing it blind. On a hard rock, you're trying to hit doublets at OD 9.1. It's very difficult, that bit.
Yeah, and because all the free mod in the group stage pool are actually, no, not group stage, sorry, round of 32 are 6.5 OD. And another really dangerous map for Hidden Hard Rock. Of course, these streams aren't too difficult to get back into because they're relatively simple, but if you break during the streams and can't recover, that's a lot of score gone.
Yeah, that's basically all of the maps.
Yeah,
And
it
we've
does look
got
it's a
one more
very good
map
play.
that I'm very excited to unveil. When I asked Garpo to map this, I wasn't sure what I was going to get. But honestly, he's exceeded all expectations. This song just slaps. This is The Reckoning by Fraser Edwards. It is a 4-minute diverse metal tiebreaker. Enjoy. So to say about this map, right now we're in the 150 BPM section. But as you saw earlier, there was a 1/3 plus 1/6 section, which basically acts as a pseudo 225.
Yeah, this seems really interesting so far.
There's
For a
some
song.
nasty 1/5 snaps as well.
Oh, jeez. The 1/3 section. When's the last time we had a Garpo map at TWC? I think it's been a while.
Never.
Never.
I'm pretty sure never. I don't think he's ever mapped for TWC. He's never mapped for TWC. Maybe we've had a map of his though.
And tiebreaker is just over 4 minutes. Definitely the longest map for the pool, but not too long as far as tiebreakers go.
It's a long 1/5 stream.
It's a 1/8 in there too.
So what are your thoughts on this so far?
I think it looks really interesting. Usually the tiebreakers err towards like the faster side. This is kind of well, unless it gets
just wait and
faster
see.
later on.
Just wait and see.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's really interesting. It kind of reminds me of during that period when people were making a lot of Avenged Sevenfold maps, which were also kind of a similar style to this first.
The 128 BPM section.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Alright, it's stand corrected.
Yeah, we've got speed built into this as well, which is an equivalent of 256. The mapping is quite similar to Nova 3. We got a bit of a speed up section here.
Oh, wow. The BPM transitions in that section are actually kind of nuts.
And we're back to the chorus at 150.
It's a really well balanced map, actually.
And it took ages to find a good song. And I can tell you the thought process behind it. I was like looking for... I had mandated that we wanted a metal tiebreaker, because if we didn't put one down, we wouldn't get one later. And then I listened to this song, and I'm like, this is perfect, but who to get to map it? And I saw on the mapper sign up that Garpo signed up, and I saw that he maps a lot of Dragon Force. It's like, who better to ask than, the artist who sounds like Dragon Force? Because, yeah.
Wow, it's still a double S.
Yeah,
Still
Nurin is
6.5.
crazy. He's insane. My best run on this is 2/100s. So
Wow.
notable.
on Hidden and Hard Rock. It's very challenging. It peaks at 230 HR, and Hidden, I mean, it's 150 VPM, so you do the math. But that is your round of 32 map pool showcase. You have a week to practice this, and I look forward to seeing how the teams do on this one. Please don't ban Hidden 1.
Well, I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens. Maybe teams will actually get a lot better at it. Or maybe they're just hiding how good they are at slow hidden after the qualifiers.
Yeah, I don't know. But with that being said, thank you for joining me here, Janitor.
Yeah, of course. It's my pleasure to be back.
And we will be seeing you next week. So take care, and yeah, see you next time.